I'm going to do two pieces. The first one is going to be from Brutal Glimpse of Moonlight, which is poems based on Norman Mailer's An Executioner song. One more uncertainty to carry around. Jumped on a plane, virtually paralyzed by the idea of change. Toked a couple, got blasted, stoned out of his head, and that was a beautiful thing. There was a magnitude to the job. You couldn't go on with it. The total had to be well over 1,000 pages. Progress stopped. They wanted lurid details. Put a walkway up in the attic with one-way mirrors looking down. You had to be paranoid. That papist prick there in the fucking restaurant had lost the only thing of real value he'd ever had or known. Ought to be a used car salesman. Sure had been in show business. Intellectual and not streetwise. His main theme was sexual. Didn't know from karma. Coming down, everything started to get unreal. The culture, the softness, it was war. Had never seen the like. Real psychos and zombies in the throes of brainwash. Thought all this was fascinating. Didn't hear it on the tapes. What the fuck kind of journey am I on? When I picture your pretty face, the darkness rolls back and I know that I am loved. I see beauty and strength and love that doesn't have any bullshit to it. I love the vein in your forehead and I love the vein in your right tit. I remember one time when we were fucking and we were really bucking up against each other. Didn't miss a chance to touch you on your sweet little cunt. It was no short, quick thing. The offer was better than catnip. We're going to be happy. It had given Betty an uncomfortable, even frightened feeling. In the throes of brainwash, she thought all this was fascinating. Didn't make love or nothing. Quite a closeness, far out on the other side of sex, as if it were her soul taking the trip rather than any juices starting to flow. It was as if they stood on a ledge, and sorrow was as light as all the air below the fall. That was pretty good. Okay. So what I wanted to do to end is, this is David Meltzer's book about the Beat generation. It's called Beat Thing. I went to the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics, which was started by Allen Ginsberg and Anne Waldman and Diane DePrima in 1974. And I've read a lot of stuff about the Beats, a lot of the books about them, and been fortunate enough to meet a few, hang out with a few, or whatever. So it's a big part of my life. I'm saying all that as a preamble to let you know that I think this is the best book on the Beats that I've ever read, David Meltzer's book on it. And part of the reason is that he tries to fill in the blanks on the many, many thousands of words that have been spilled on the Beats by talking about its connection to Judaism. So this is a part about poetry and jazz, which is something that I love and which David Meltzer also does and did very well. And so we're going to give this a shot now. Okay, what was poetry and jazz all about? How was it done? Who did it? Did it really make it? Why? Nobody knows its origins. Claiming to be its progenitor, Rex Roth says he did it in Chicago with Jelly Roll. in the late 20s, early 30s. Ruth Weiss claims to have started in 1946 in New Orleans. Rachel Lindsay in the 20s, Boomale Boomale. Daniel Jazz. Scanners say it started in the caves, moving across Shirim, Bible plains into Kawali singing Sufis, fed in gut streams, Duende Cante, Troubadour courts, into great balladeers across winter drifts to Schoenberg and Louis Armstrong's amnesia-inspired Lasso Lelia. Edith Sitwell, Rat-a-tat, Facade, Walton's Tea Dance, Jazz Band, Hacha, from Africa West to Delta South to Broadway, Hart, Gershwin, Langston Hughes and Jazz Age, Harlem Club, Dukes Recitatives, Bob's Gonzalez, Leo Watson, Slim Gaylord, Putty, Little Walter, Robert Johnson, Blind Willie McTell. Where does it start or end in the music of the words and the words beyond words? Jazz itself and what surrounds it. Abiding community of devotees with or without devotees. To whites, jazz was a way out. Into black, as white was black, jazz's way in. Its instruments, scales, rhythms, harmonies, no confusion, subversive celebratory fusion, pa state instruments, square note, hymnody, church and state, structure between beat and offbeat, catch spirits and let loose in spiriting bodies. Found music of language in the language of music. Mad TV's beat, Poet Hawk's Coffee Bean Heart Attack Breakfast cereal. Parodies the melody of history, taking itself seriously. This is an orchestra. Stan Kenton's outstretched arms, mouths, Steinberg's scrawl code, balloons and big lumpy goose clouds bloom out of his matinee idle gray at the temple's rats. Spike Jones, Mickey Cats, Homer and Jethro, Beat Poets, John and Marcia, Stan Freeberg, Question, Minimal, Como, Performance Art. Lawrence Harvey reads Thomas Benton, This Is My Beloved, on Erdogan, produced Atlantic Disc. Screaming Jay Hawkins, I put a spell on you, not Rex Rothko, recite you, killed him, you son of a bitches in your etc. gray flannel suits, dutifully backed up by the Cellar Jazz Quintet. Not even Richard Lord Buckley's Barrymore hipster rolled gold, who sounds like Ezra Pound trilling his Ars Poetica. Yes to Lenny Bruce, Jew Boy. Yes to Jack Kerouac, Lumberjack. Knew what others didn't know about swinging. Ken Nordine's Hammond B3 voice could be selling Chevrolets. Gene Shepard reclaiming Robert's service, graying a voice, intent to one day. Whatever you say, Jim, as long as it jams. Baraka rocks and nails fools with song that won't be wronged. Beat up on the off, the beat, battered, buttered, buffed, beats me, beat it. There's Todd Burba. We've been having a lot of fun at Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic for 10 years, but there's something really special about tonight, and I have a good feeling about Ghost Town Poetry and Angst Gallery, and I hope you do too. Thank you to Tony Cardington, thank you to Nancy Flynn, and there's still some books if you want to buy some books and contribute to bringing David Meltzer and Julie Rogers here. And we hope to see you all again here March 12th for Tommy Gaffney and more open mic poetry. Oh, one more special thank you to Tiffany Burba for documenting all this. So, yeah. So just in case your friends don't believe you about what you tell them about tonight, you'll be able to see it on YouTube pretty soon. Thank you all for being here tonight.